Welcome car audio enthusiasts. Well, if you've got some brand new in the box old school subs like I do, or you've ordered them online, chances are that you're going to have some degradation of the surrounds. So I thought I would finally do a video on, I'm going to call it refoaming or putting on new surrounds on some subs. So stay tuned and I'll take you through the entire process, as tricky as it's going to be. Well, there's a couple of subs that I bought recently. These ones were brand new in the box Rockford Fosgate SPP 15.8. So these are a 15-inch 8-ohm sub, and used to run two of these in parallel and you get 4 ohms, and most amplifiers early 90s were only 4 ohms stable. These are great subs. These are the Pro Series, and they're new. They were new in the box, brand new, never been touched since 1990. Now, this is how they looked when we opened the box, and as you can see, they look good. Forget the foam surround, the spider is stiff, the cone's in great condition, the magnet's great condition, terminals brand new, but we've got this foam. So I'll show you how quickly that foam will come off. So there you go, and now there's not a lot of stability of that cone. So what I would like to do is refoam these. So the first thing that we need to do is understand the surround. Now I've already measured these up, so you need to know how much the overall diameter is of the surround, how much the inner diameter is. On the cone, you need to know, is it a flat mating surface or is it slightly profiled with the cone of the sub. So this has a flat profile, so we're looking for a surround that is effectively flat to go into the basket. Then it has the radius, obviously, which gives it its suspension, and then we have a flat mating piece which goes onto the cone. So what I will do is I will take off these gaskets, clean everything up, and take you through the process how I cleaned it up. Now there are some online videos from people like Fix My Speakers or Simply Speakers, and they're really helpful. Some of them skip over a few things and they kind of make it look really easy, and I tackled one of these subs earlier, of course, because I'm not going to do this without having a little trial run, and I found it really difficult to achieve some of the cleanliness around the cone with the glue that's fundamentally 28 years old. The other point I'd like to make before we take you through that process is, here's another one I bought. Now, you've got to be careful when you ask people, is it new, can you check the foam? So these things are, again, 20 odd years old. This is the Kicker Comp VR. And I was assured that this was perfectly good. So unfortunately this is how it arrives, and well, that's up to some people, I guess. However, look, as you can see, the foam degrades. So this one, again, in great condition except for the foam, so I should be able to restore this one as well, although the foam is stitched into the cone here, but that shouldn't be an issue. We can get a profile cone, profile surround, and just glue it in. Alright, enough of me talking. Let's take our Rockford 15-inch sub and let's go through the process of putting on a new surround. Okay, so we've got our speaker here. My advice to everyone is go to a place that you're going to create a bit of mess, because the gasket, speaker, foam and the glues that are used are really sticky when they come off, and it gets in your clothes, your shoes. So go somewhere where you can create a mess. Got my speaker here. We're going to use just our paint booth because I can clean it up easy. I use a bit of wax and grease remover, not on the cone but around the basket once you take the gasket off to clean it, and I'm using just a simple isopropyl alcohol, and I use that sparingly on the cone and to try and get the dust cap off. You have to use a fair bit of heat on this to actually get the glue to soften up on the dust cap. Got to be careful you don't overheat the cone. So it's going to be a bit of a tricky situation. I've got a pretty beaten up Stanley knife, and I'll just keep scraping away lightly on all the edges. So I'll go through the process now. First thing I'm going to do is take the gasket off, then I'm going to work on this dust cap, and then once the dust cap's off, I'll put some shims in just to hold the cone steady while I work around cleaning up the edge of the cone and the edge of the basket and get it prepped ready to put our new surrounds on. So I'm just scraping it as best I can with the knife. You can see a little bit of the paper is coming up. It's so hard to get this glue off without using chemicals. I just want to get this, at least the surface flat, so when it's re-glued, it won't come unstuck. And despite the fact our speaker surround is glued down, this gasket acts as a big clamp as well. So we do want to make sure that it's a fairly even surface all the way around. That feels fairly smooth despite a little bit of residual glue around the edges. I don't want to start peeling it up too much and getting back to the raw paper. I think that's actually going to work, and it's clean and will stick quite nicely. So I will leave our gasket for now. I try not to use much alcohol on the speaker cone, because the more chemical you soak into it, the softer this becomes, and you want it quite rigid around the lip to stick your new surround on. Thankfully, this one's actually coming off okay. That's pretty good. I will wipe that down in a minute. I'll just try and work my way around now to get that residual glue off the edge. Alright, I will do the basket next, although I did say I was going to do the dust cap first, but I've left that to last. I noticed there's a lot of videos that say don't touch the dust cap, and you can actually put new surrounds on and they'll self-center, but I'm not confident. And the reason I'm not is I can see straight away that this is so sensitive because it's a 15-inch sub, but the width of it, it's like a big lever, and even if you were like half a mil out on the surround, you're going to hold it in that position. There's a risk. I can hear it now scraping on this, the voice call. So I'd rather take the dust cap off, put shims in to hold that steady in the right position, get the surround on, knowing that the speaker is centered correctly, which means you have to take this off carefully so you don't damage it, which is a bit of a mission in itself. Such an iconic logo and old dust cap, I just don't want to destroy it getting it off, but see how we go. For the basket, I'm going to use wax and grease remover. Alright, so I'm going to now work around the edge of the dust cap using a heat gun. I've lowered the setting on the heat gun, and we're going to just work our way around and slowly start picking up the glue. The problem with getting it too hot is you can get discoloration, which might be inevitable, but we'll do our best. These are just not going to come off easy, so What I will try and do is put some black satin water-based paint into the comb again. Just see if I can blacken it up. Yeah, unfortunately I've caught a bit of the material there. Okay, so we're left with a bit of mess here where the glue line was. What I am going to do is clean that up with a little bit of 400 grit emery paper. Just lightly take that off, and then I will probably use some speaker gasket glue, which is clear, just to wipe into the surface to rebond all that little bit of cardboard that's just come away there. Then I will get some water-based paint into this. You can see it's browned a little bit around the edges. I will then shim the voice coil so this is steady, and then we will fit our new surround. What this does is it just really works to lightly take off that loose bit of glue and paper, provide a nice smooth surface for re-gluing. I don't want to go too heavy on this. You want to keep that rigid. I don't want to use chemical. Just enough to get it feathery and you can take it away. Just peel it off with your fingers. I did test this method out the other day before I did this one, and I had great success with it, so that's why I thought I'll just even it up using a bit of 400 grit. And it tends to just get off the loose bits of cardboard without going through. So you can see the dust cap's actually coming up okay. There's a few bits of overhang here. I'll just use a razor to take off. You can see that bit of glue there. One of the things I can do is get an oversized dust cap, and I can reprint the logo on top if I want to. I may do that at a later date. I'd like to try and get these back on and see how they look. I don't think they're going to look too bad, but they no way will look perfect. No way will it look like a new sub, but at least it's original. Similarly with the surround, talk about that shortly, but I've gone to Simply Speakers for a whole bunch of reasons, and I've selected a few different types of surrounds because this is not quite within any of the measurements, so I'd like to try and get the closest surround to the original as possible. I don't want to turn this into a Frankenwoofer and have a big rubber surround and overhang. I'd like to try and match it as close as I can. We'll go through that in a bit. I'll keep cleaning this up. I don't want to keep going on that. I really don't want to do too much more. What I will do is just wipe a little bit of glue into here just to rebond those fibres. So this is some speaker gasket glue, speaker repair adhesive from Simply Speakers in the US. You won't see this because it'll be under the dust cap, but at least I know those fibres are kind of bonded together. It's just a tiny wee amount. I just want to say Simply Speakers in the US. Now their website is simplyspeakers.com. They have been fantastic. The reason I like buying off these guys